MelbourneReal episode 3. Here we are. Andrew, how are you?
Good. I know we're going to try to get Ashley to do this podcast about technology and about computers and technology and so forth.
Yeah. Couldn't get it happening, unfortunately. Well, we will.
Due to family circumstances at the moment, couldn't get it happening, but we are going to re-tee that up, and that will happen a little bit later on down the track.
Yeah. And sorry for the delay now between episodes. It's been a while. So just getting our shit together here. So Brian and Nick, we're still doing this. So you know, I was actually, did I tell you I had a chat to Brian on Skype?
No.
About 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was interesting. He's a fucking nice dude, man.
Yeah.
He's the real deal. Like, he fucking so believes in what he's doing, and he's so down with what we're doing at the moment. And I think one of the things he really likes is the fact that we're actually following through. And I know we've been a bit slack and sorry, but you know we're sort of getting our shit together here. But I think he really likes what we're doing, and he likes how we roll with the style in which we do our thing and the content. And it's a little bit different to some of the other reels that have been around the world. So there's this kind of global phenomenon slowly happening, but he's into it, and he's just a lovely fucking guy. Oh, and by the way, I've got 2 t-shirts coming your way, and I've got a t-shirt for you as well.
Oh, thank you.
I've got these Jack The Bear t-shirts. I only made 50 of them, and I promised the boys I'd get it. I've got your address. I will get it to you. Okay, I'm not one of these. He was talking about he hates people that say one thing, don't do another. But I promise you, it's now on the internet. It's on its way. Anyway, all right, buddy. Let's get on with it. What are we talking about today?
Well, I saw this YouTube video the other day, which I found quite fascinating. We were talking about, obviously we're both got our fingers in the pie with the music industry and where it's heading. And it was really interesting to hear about how bands are going to make money.
Yeah.
How the internet's affecting businesses even like yourself with mastering and online mastering and all those sorts of things.
Yeah.
And you know, even from a music production point of view, where you know, session musicians are now, you know, becoming less and less needed, especially session drummers, because, you know, you can buy live kits, professionally recorded, each sound individually, and you can, you can program it, and you've got, within software, there's natural swings that it can generate, like as if you're human beings playing it, so that the timing, you know, the way that a natural person would play it, it's able to do those sorts of things. So the question, you know, about where it's all going and what impact it's having at the moment, and how it's affecting everything from musicians to record labels, and that's another big one that are starting to lose a big piece of the pie at the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think, you know, when I came across your business online, when I was looking to get some mastering done, we hadn't seen each other for a while. At that point, I saw tons of online mastering. You know, there's people in, you know, Czechoslovakia and you know, all sorts of different countries. You know, in the US, UK, and you know, there's mastering out there for next to nothing, and there's mastering out there, you know, for $200-300 a track, and there's a big difference, and there's a big difference in sound quality, and there's a big difference in what I found is, prior to using you, I'd used 2 other services. The second one that I'd used was quite good. It was actually an English electronic music producer who started his own mastering company, and you would send him the stems, and then he would
do the mix.
So it was just the kick drum, the bass line, and then the rest of the track. So yeah, it's pretty. But it was all digital mastering. It was very clean. It was very crisp. And it kind of lacked a little bit, for me, it lacked a little bit of depth and a little bit of warmth more than anything.
Yeah.
And so when I came across to you, and you had all this outboard gear, and you had a bit of a listen, didn't make too much judgment at the time, but when I came home and listened to it on my speakers and my monitors and got a real feel to where it was at, it was very, very different to what I had experienced previously.
Yeah.
So, but it's funny, you know, I physically came to you where the other guys I've never met.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why we did business. We did business with, so there was no, for me, there was no actual relationship And so
And
without relationship, is there loyalty? Do you get loyalty?
What's interesting though about that meeting is that this podcast actually was born because of that meeting.
Yeah.
Because we got together and we started talking, and then we realised that, hey, you know, we've been on these journeys that be almost like we're living these parallel lives and all these things, and we started talking about Rogan and consciousness and the universe and all this kind of stuff, and it got really deep, and I was just like, fuck, dude, you know, we've got to fucking do this thing, you know. So, but getting back to the loyalty thing, look, obviously it's different when you do stuff face to face, absolutely, because you've got the human interaction, you communicate on a much different level. I think the loyalty can exist, and I have clients from overseas I've never met, but the one thing I do try to do is I like to have a Skype conversation with these people.
Yeah.
And I think that's the next best thing to trying to develop a rapport, because I think email is great and it's handy and it's great for those who are probably maybe a little more introverted. It's good in terms of getting specificity and things on the record so that you can backtrack a line of communication, so there can be no miscommunication or, you know, along the line in case, you know, something goes a bit off track. But I think the loyalty can be there. It just depends on you in terms of what you invest in the relationship. So, you know, I mean, we're living more and more online these days, and increasing amount of my business is becoming that one client. But I'll always try and have try and make it as personable as possible, whether it's through a phone call or a Skype conversation or something like that, just so I get a bit of a sense of the person I'm dealing with, and vice versa, because I think it's just as important for them to get a feel for you and who you are, and that, you know, for them to know that you're interested in their music and wanting to deal with them. You just don't see them as a means to an end.
Yeah.
So, yeah, look, I think it's just very different. But look, you can get loyalty. It's just different.
Yeah. So if someone, like in your business right now, if someone gets online, sends you an email saying, hey, I need some music mastered, what do they do? Would they just send you a link to download?
Yeah, generally speaking, it was just a very generic thing through the website. They'll just sort of tell you a bit about themselves and what sort of music they do, and, you know, here's a link, because I normally like to listen to stuff beforehand to check the mixes, make sure they're in good shape, because a lot of people now do their own mixing, so they don't necessarily have the best monitoring environment. So if you can provide some constructive input into what they're doing, they find it very helpful. But anyhow, they just send you an email, say, hi, I'm a producer, or I'm an engineer, I'm in the bands, what we're doing, we've got so many tracks we want to do, and most of the time it's really, they're looking for a price.
Yeah.
For the most part. Price and then availability. If they know you, they worked with you before, it's a referral, they'll probably mention something about that.
Yeah.
But most people, you'll find, you know, again, they shop online, they'll send out a blanket kind of email to everyone, wait to get the responses, and they just go from there.
Yeah.
So they're just casting their net, and then you follow up from that point. So depending on what comes in, I mean, I've got other guys who work with me as well, so sometimes I can farm out inquiries to different guys I work with, depending on the style of music, etc., or maybe it's someone that they've known before. So I don't want to take away anyone else's client.
I mean, for me, I just find it's really interesting, because we're at a situation now where it's harder for musicians to make money.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah.
There's 1,000 more bands now, because people can deal with the public directly, don't need record labels. You know, look in Australia, Triple J Unearthed, right?
Yeah.
A lot of bands become recognised through Triple J Unearthed. The money that they make predominantly is from touring and from doing gigs.
And merch. And selling t-shirts or physical CDs at their shows.
Yep. And even physical CDs, I mean, all of them now, most of them, you just buy their music on iTunes. And you buy the tracks that you only like, you don't have to buy the whole album.
Yeah.
So, you know, the days of having those filler tracks on an album, or the days of having, you know, intros and outro tracks and those sorts of things, you know, those 1 minute tracks, people just don't need to buy them anymore, because they're not buying a whole album.
Yeah.
They can choose to buy specific tracks. And so I think it's, like I said, it's harder. And I think when people come down to, you know, paying for their own mastering, and there's no labels involved, and they're doing things directly, I think it's, people are going to be, you know, I think, more conscious about how much money they spend and what they get for their money.
Yeah, but the flip side to that is that they're conscious of it, but it's never been cheaper now for artists to make records because everyone's so much more self-sufficient. Like you said, people can buy programs. A lot of the time they're not bloody paying for them; they're just downloading something from a torrent, and so it's just their time, really. Yeah. So by the time they get to mastering, the cost of making a record is so much cheaper than it ever was. But having said that, that's offset by the fact that now they're making the least amount of money as well. So, yeah. But when you think about the overall outlay, it's not so bad. Even if they, if say you do an album for $1,500 and there's 4 members, it's what, $350 a piece. It's not. It doesn't hurt as much as 10 grand, 12 grand, 20 grand, whatever. Yeah. Whatever number you want to put in there. So, it's interesting, man. I mean, I think people that talk about the industry that it's fucked and it's dead, I think it's just evolved. And look, it's hard to put people blame the internet. I think the internet actually has brought a lot of good stuff to music as well. Again, it's like with anything, man. It's like, how do you want to look at something? Do you want to look at something, is your glass half full or is it half empty? Yeah. If you want to look at the negative, then it's fucking negative. And if you want to look at the opportunity, you can find the opportunity. I mean, I've been doing this gig for fucking nearly 30 years now. And it's true that I probably may earn less money now in 2013 than what I did in 2000. Yeah. Probably do that because my overheads have gone up. But what I've had to do is I've had to try and work smarter. I've had to look at a different business model. I've had to look at trying where I could, save money along the way, etc., but still try and keep a quality. So it's a matter of what do you want to do. Do you want to play the game and you want to still enjoy what you do, or you want to put your tail between your legs and go fucking home and whinge and whine? I don't want to put my tail between my legs. Fuck that. I love it too much. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of people that do give up very easily. So it's like with anything, man. Cream rises and shit stinks. That'll never change. Yeah.
I think I definitely agree with about writing music. It's cheaper. You can buy a basic version of Logic now for $300.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, mate.
Going back, years ago when Logic first came out, the entry level Logic I think was nearly $600-700 for the so the cost of even the programs, because they've been around for so long now, even though they're constantly developing and they're getting better, and the great thing is you buy them once and then all you're ever buying is an upgrade, and the upgrades are usually really cost $100 or whatever it is, a couple $100 at best. So. But I definitely think things are changing, and like you said, every business model, I don't think it matters what type of business you're in. Yeah. If you're not constantly evolving with the times, your business...
Yeah, that's it. You're fucked.
Yeah, absolutely.
Adapt or die, as the Japanese say.
Yeah. So, but and I think the other thing is one of my favourite apps at the moment is this app called Pandora.
Tell me about that, because I'm not as... As someone that works in music, I'm talking about, I'm not as switched in the technology side of things as you are. So, tell me about Pandora, man. I'm fascinated. So, Pandora
is this app you can get on your iPhone or any smartphone. It comes as an iPhone app or as a what's the other one? Android app.
Yep.
You type in an artist that you like. So I can type in James Blake, and it will play not just James Blake's music, but it'll play all other music that's similar to James Blake's music.
No shit, that's awesome.
And it's continuous. So you can have it on in the background, just type in an artist that you like. I typed in The Field and then it started playing all music, like ambient electronic music, and all these bands came up that I've never heard of before. So then I was like, oh cool, this is another band I've never heard of. And so I'd get online, I'd check out their stuff. If I like something, I'll buy the album. It's such an awesome app, and I just think, I was speaking to, and a customer of mine got me onto it, and he said, you know what we do at work? And he said, instead of playing an iPod like you're doing, he goes, we use Pandora. He goes, you got Wi-Fi here? And I go, yep. And he said, it's the best app. And he said, just type in the style of music that you like, or an artist that you like. It's got its own preset radio stations as well, like if you want to listen to 80s pop or whatever, and it's already pre-selected a whole bunch of music for you to listen to. Like it's such an intuitive and well done app that I think is the beginning of us listening to music differently.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's this going to mean for radio? I think radio, as we know, is
finished.
Yeah, especially I think once Wi-Fi gets to a point where you've got more cars fitted out with, receivers, able to get the signal. Traditional radios we know is completely fucked in the ass.
Well, the other thing is, it's the amount of data that we get from the mobile phone satellites, because that's what the cars will connect to.
Yeah.
So those mobile phone receivers. Now, Telstra's got 4G, which is great because you get high-speed data. It's not everywhere; it's only in the city areas, and metropolitan Melbourne. But yeah, so the big limitation at the moment is that on any mobile phone plan or Wi-Fi plan like you get for your iPads and stuff is 2 gig a month, 3 gig a month, 5 gig I think is the largest plan. Once that evolves, and that was like, remember when home internet first started, you used to get 500 meg a month?
Yeah, now it's unlimited.
Now you can get unlimited, you can get, I've got cable and it gives me 10 gig a month. 10 gig, it's so hard to use 10 gig, even watching movies online, even with my Apple TV, all my devices put together, mobile phones. We probably get to 5, 6 gig, but listening to radio in the car all the time, the encoding will get better, so they can transmit more information with less data.
There'll be better compression algorithms.
And we'll have more sophisticated towers. They can distribute more, because one of the issues that we face at the moment is that if you've got all these people in the one area, all feeding off the same tower, and all using large amounts of data, it slows right down.
Yeah.
Right. So
it's a bit like a bottleneck kind of effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you've got all these...
Is that because of the architecture of the infrastructure?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay.
So, and as they get more sophisticated, they can distribute much more data, and they can be faster, and they won't, instead of being able to only have, say, 10,000 people off the one, using off the one tower, they might turn into 20 or 30 or 50 or 100,000 people, so they'll become much more sophisticated and advanced, and at that point, that's when Wi-Fi's in cars and the way that we listen to music will change. I mean, already we've got digital radio in Australia, and all new cars now have digital radios in them.
Right.
And so the quality is already great. That's the first thing that we're starting to see. The great thing with internet radio though is you go into a whole new level, because everyone can have their own internet radio station.
Yeah, and just pick what you want.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. But I love the idea of Pandora. You're saying that type in a band name and it'll give you all these similar bands. What I'm interested to know is how there must be obviously some human or humans there that are going to go through catalogues of music and whatnot, and then it's like, where do you draw the line as to what is similar to what? You know what I mean? So it'd be interesting to see. I mean, in your experience with it, have you found that when they bring, you talk about James Black before, in terms of what they suggest to be similar, do you find that they're accurate?
Fairly. Sometimes you'll get a track that's kind of maybe a little bit odd, or kind of, it sits on the boundary of genres, and it might,
questionable.
It's questionable, but overall it's pretty good. Like I've only tried a few different bands. I've only recently been getting into it. I typed in Angus and Julia Stone, and so I was listening to their music. And then they had things like Basia Boulette, and they had all these other acoustic folk artists that were very similar, was on the money, really accurate, which is really good. The Field, that was probably pretty easy because it's all electronica and
ambient.
Yeah, ambient electronica, and it fitted. It was fine. I didn't find anything too outrageous. The Field, I did get it kind of. We came across sort of one more sort of techno-y track and a bit more aggressive, electronica, but. You'll get that. You have to have slight variations, otherwise it'll all be the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I definitely think there has to be people there that are saying, well, this is similar to this. And if I reckon? I reckon it'll also probably come down to how people buy music. So if in my iTunes account, for example, I bought this artist and I also bought this artist, and they're both in the similar genres, maybe they take that data in the way that we buy our music online and used it for this actual app. Now I don't know who owns the app. I don't know whether it has an affiliation with any of the online music stores.
Have you seen an interesting thing online? I guess it's like a meme, and they talk about a cup of coffee and music, and the comparison between the two, where people are saying how a cup of coffee costs fuck all to put together, has this much profitability, it's disposable, you only get to enjoy it once, and costs maybe $5, and music is something that takes a long time to create, and it's someone's livelihood at the end of the line, and not even $1 these days. You know, it's something that gives you long-lasting enjoyment with a cup of coffee. So this transitory experience, you know.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because when they put it on paper, you know, you scratch your head and you wonder, fuck, you know, why is it that the value of music has just gone down the fucking toilet? You know, people don't value it as much. And I mean, I wonder, is it because maybe the coffee is a physical item you can touch, hold, feel, and there is no digital replacement for, whereas the music, what is it? It's just fucking ones and zeros.
Yeah, but the thing is, that song for $1 goes out to thousands or tens of thousands of people. That coffee for $5 only gets to go to one person, and only one person gets to enjoy it. So the actual the cost has to be higher.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you make a computer program. If that computer program is a program that you know 100,000 people are going to use, you will probably only charge $50 for that program. But if only 10 people are going to use it,
but that's,
you're going to have to charge $1,000 for that program.
But that's based on if you know in advance that you've definitely got those sales.
Yeah.
Whereas with music you don't, and same with the coffee for that matter.
Well, I think the other thing is that you got to remember is that when we're dealing with record labels, usually when you sold a CD for $14 or $15 or $20, whatever it was back in the day, the retailer would probably make half. So if it's a $20 CD,
oh no, less than half.
Less than half. So say wholesale, what, $13, $14 for wholesale?
No, you know what? Look, I reckon retail, because I'm only going back a few years because I worked at Virgin for a while, and I was an in-store DJ for a short period of time. And I think that retail, they were licking their chops if they were making 35% gross on. So I'm talking 90, 91, 92. See, you know, a release CD was probably at $24, $25.
Okay.
Right. So
35%, what's that? So $6?
$7, and they would have been delighted with that. So it wasn't great.
Okay, so then you've got the wholesaler in between. The wholesaler's going to make a couple of bucks on that disc.
Yep.
Then the label's got to recoup the cost for marketing, promotion. They would have paid the recording studio costs, all those sorts of things. Yeah. The artist at the end for each track wouldn't have got more than $1 out of that CD.
Yeah, if that.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
It's the same now. The difference is we're cutting out all the bullshit in between for it not to cost $25 anymore.
Yeah, okay.
Do you see what I mean?
No, I see what you mean.
And the thing is, people now don't need to risk to buy. Back in the day, people bought albums by hearing one song on the radio or two songs on the radio. Now you can audition every single song online before you buy it. So the difference is, I think we're getting better quality music now, because only the really good artists are standing out, and only the really good artists are able to sell their music.
I don't know, but I think there's also a lot more shit out there. I mean, there's a lot of
shit.
There's a lot of good quality music, but I think there's also a lot, because it's open to everyone, and it's a double-edged sword. You know, the positive is it's great because now everyone's got access to be able to make music and put it out there. The thing is, from the punter's viewpoint, is like, well, fucking, where do you look and what will you find? And you have to sift through a lot more shit, you know. And I find it frustrating. Look, I don't know about you, Andrew, but most of the music that I find is usually from word of mouth, and I find that more reliable when people, you know, come in, clients say, hey man, picked up this record by this artist or something new, or they might tell me about their friend. And so look, you know, there's their Facebook or there's their website or Bandcamp page or whatever. Yeah. And I go check it out. And I find I have a higher success rate finding new music through word of mouth. I find that a much more reliable source than going online. Because, mate, there's just a fucking plethora of shit online, and blogs and you know, music sites and whatnot. It's like, you just don't have the time to physically sift through all that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, you know, I mean, I don't know, like, how do you find your, like when you're looking?
When I find music that I play, like, to DJ, like, I buy a lot of my music through Beatport, and Beatport I can choose to follow artists and labels.
Do you think that got sold the other day? $50 million.
Really?
Yeah. SWX or some anyway, obviously a big fucking corporation doing about $50 million worth of it.
Wow.
It's fucking amazing, isn't it?
That's incredible.
Yeah. Isn't it?
So
anyway, you're saying, sorry, Beatport?
Yeah. So what you can do is you can subscribe to a record label. Every time that label has a new release up, you get like a message saying this is all the new stuff that's come out from the label. You can do it with artists as well. Choose to follow certain artists. So there's someone that you like, but also when you buy something from an artist that you actually like, it also has down the bottom people who have bought this have also bought this and this and this.
Recommended, okay.
Yeah, and so you go off links. Yes, it's still a bit of exploring. They're hit and misses. They're not always great, but you know there is some consistency there, and you kind of get similar genres, similar styles. Personal listening music though, it's interesting because you know I listen to a lot of Triple R, a lot of PBS, so some of the independent stations, and you know when I hear something I like.
Those stations are fucking great, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
especially PBS, I think for new music, and particularly, you know, if you really are into a wide range of stuff, it's great, man. And yeah, and radio's a good medium.
Yeah,
I mean that kind of radio. I think public radio that's actually run by people that really love music, that are passionate about stuff, as opposed to they're not. Yes, you know, they need sponsorship and they're a business as well, but it's not a commercial radio station which really is all about advertising and sponsorship and you know.
Yeah, I think that for me in the store we kind of flip between the three stations we flip between is Triple J, Triple R and PBS. They're all non-commercial radio stations. There's no crazy ads and you know annoying news hours every half an hour and traffic updates and all that crap that does your head in, you know. And so and we have a real diverse group of people within the business as well. So I've got a guy that every Friday he just wants to listen to the banjo show on PBS.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's on Friday mornings at 11 o'clock. We're listening to the banjo show, and that's his thing, and we let him do it. And then, you know, I think later on Fridays there's the reggae show on PBS, and we've got one girl that's really into a reggae, so we crank up the reggae tunes, and you know we have that playing in the background. And so we switch between stations and what we like. Saturday mornings is always Triple J. You know, that's what we do. We've got a lot of the young sort of kids come in and they all love their Triple J, and so yeah, we try to accommodate for everyone, but we really try to avoid all the commercial radio stations. You know.
What do you think about Triple J now and how they're rocking it these days?
I just I don't know. Like there's certain things like I think what they're doing for Australian music is great. There's no one that's doing as much for Australian music as they are.
Especially the Unearthed initiative. But I would like to see more of that on air and not just online.
Yeah.
That's the only criticism I have. I think that, and that they probably won't admit it, but I'm sure that they probably try and compete with the commercials. I mean, I think the commercials actually see them as a bit of a testing ground, because they break a lot of music, and so once they see that something gets a bit of traction, they're onto it. But I interrupted you, so go on.
Well, in relation, look at Gautier, very first two albums before the big album. Both those albums were in Triple J's Hottest 100s. They both got plenty of airplay.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, it is a testing ground. I think Triple J do, they touch on the borders of a lot of music that is almost hitting commercial is becoming that pop genre.
Yeah, kind of on the verge. Yeah, crossing over. Yeah.
But Triple J, look what they did for Australian hip hop music.
Definitely.
It wasn't for them. And they do have the Oz Music Month that they also do, which we just came out of. I think it happens in it's either Jan or February is Oz Music Month, and they have it every year.
January. Yeah, I think.
So I see that even though I don't necessarily like all the music that they play, and I definitely think that they've contributed substantially to Australian music scene and to Australian music culture, especially alternative forms of culture like Australian hip hop and things like that, which struggled for a very long time.
Yeah, man. I remember doing the very first Australian hip hop compilation in 1995, I think it was. It was called Rock the City, and And it was really weird, man, listening to Australian hip hop, Australian MCs, and
with the accents,
with the Aussie accents, and it was like, wow, man, it was like, who would have thought that it would have become what it's become? And I think thanks to the Hilltop Hoods and their success. And one thing I really love about the Hilltop Hoods, man, is that, look, it's not necessarily the kind of shit that I'm into necessarily. But man, recently, what they set up this great initiative, and they put up this money, and they're like a grant for artists, and they're supporting the scene, and they're giving back, and it's fucking great, man. I love that they're doing that, because I've had a few people ask me, look, we're putting a proposal together. We need to put together. We need a quote for the mastering as part of our application. And it's just like, it's fucking so good, man, that they would do that. Like, fucking take my hat off to them. It's great.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's nothing like it, when you see, I think when music artists contribute back in that way, it's, people can say, oh, well, it's marketing for them because, they get something back from it, it shows that they're, that they're doing all the right things. But, I definitely see with Hilltop Hoods, there's definitely an honesty and integrity about those guys, and I've seen many interviews with them and stuff, and I think they would definitely, I think it's definitely coming from their heart, and I definitely think they'll get, it'd be good, what would be good? It'd be nice to see someone like Hilltop Hoods be like the Jay-Z of the Australian hip hop music scene, where they move on to their own labels, and they help young people, through their own labels and those sorts of things, and I'm sure over time, whether it's them or somebody else, we'll start to see that, and
I think most people, when they come across people that take on those kind of initiatives, I don't think there's that much cynicism about it. People can see through the ones that are contrived and are used as some kind of a marketing ploy. And look, at the end of the day, man, it's like this. I think when you put together such an initiative, and you do it from the right place, and it comes from your heart, and it's a genuine, sincere, thing for you to help. It's, again, without wanting to get all cosmic and everything, but it's a karmic thing too, man. It's going to come back, and it's going to benefit you too. And if for no other reason, man, you just fucking feel good because you can. I mean, I don't know if you're aware, but I started a foundation about 4 or 5 months ago, and it's to help struggling musicians. One day a month I do mastering for a donation. Just whatever people are comfortable giving me, all the money that we collate on the day, we give to a non-for-profit organisation, and we've just been, helping various people, whether it's for child, to help the sex slave, to help battle the sex slavery in Asia, or for the Bali Dog Adoption Centre, or for Fair Share that feed hungry people, White Line, work with troubled youth, whatever. And if nothing else, man, you just feel fucking good because you've just done something good, and you know that you'll be able to help someone that you don't necessarily know, but it's just passing on good energy, So if nothing else, man, it's bottom line is you feel good because you've done something good. Simple as that. Anything else that comes out of it's a fucking bonus, And I think particularly when you've had, look, I've been very fortunate, man. I've been doing this fucking gig since I was 19. I'm fucking nearly 50 now. And it's, it's allowed me to have a lifestyle, and it's allowed me to raise 3 kids, and it's given me a lot of fun, and I've met a lot of really great people. So it's like, at the time now, it's time to give something back. And because it's just been so fucking good, man. It's been great. I love it. So, and I think we're going to see more and more of that, to be honest, man. I think we're seeing, it's, remember we had Live Aid and shit in the 80s. We had all these huge, massive initiatives. But I think on the ground level, there's probably a lot more than we actually know about. And I think it's fucking great, man. It's really, really good.
Yeah, we within our business we do the same. We have lots of people that come to us for sponsorship, and they might be trying to raise money for the local kindergarten or the local school, or the school needs some sort of new equipment, or just some new sports gear or something like that. And so they'll have fundraiser nights where we'll donate a gift voucher for X amount of dollars, and people will bid on that gift voucher, and So I think you're right. It is a feel good thing. And for us, more importantly, it's being part of the community, because we are a community business and we see ourselves that way.
That's definitely, and that's very apparent walking in the shop, man. It's like, you get that feel about it. I mean, it's even the name's great. The Village.
Yeah.
You know, the Village. Is it the Village grocery store?
The Village store.
The Village store.
Yeah.
I mean, what a cool fucking name. I mean, it says it all. I mean, just you hear the names. It's Village store. It reeks of community. Reeks of it, mate.
But yeah, going back to the music side of things, the one thing I'm actually doing now is I've decided that I'm going to give away all my music from now on.
Yep.
Because I don't need to make money from music. I've got a job, I earn money, and so that's fine. You know, but I'd love to just share my music for free. So every track that I release now, I'm putting on SoundCloud, and then I'll start to do some promotion behind it through Facebook and other things, and I'm just going to give it away. And
that's great.
Yeah, and I think for me, if I just play a gig every now and then, I don't want to be DJing every week because I can't do that anymore. But yeah, if I play a gig, once every couple of months, go out there, play some tunes, play your music out live, bit of fun. So, and I think there's more and more of that happening. Like on a lot of the SoundCloud people, like Facebook, you have friends.
Yeah.
I'm seeing artists, even like bigger artists now, every now and then just putting a tune up for free.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm seeing it more and more, like it's becoming more common. You know, and so I think where these guys are making their money is from gigs. It's from playing gigs.
Yeah, gigs, merch, and you, before we started recording, you were talking about this, I'm fascinated you can extrapolate on that, but the hardcore fans getting the behind the scenes and producer.
Yeah.
So, tell us about that, man.
So, yeah, I heard this, I was watching this online documentary about business and music, and this person was talking about how artists can make money through other means. And one of the other opportunities was that you can pay money to watch their concert online, so if you can't physically go to the concert.
Yeah.
But two, if you're a big fan of the band, you might be a premium subscriber and pay an extra $30 or $40, and you can go backstage with them, so there's cameras on them and you're just watching it online, and you get a true sense of being there and knowing what happens backstage.
The fly on the wall experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so all of a sudden you've got 1,000 loyal fans that are all paying $30 or $40 or $50 online to subscribe to a full show experience.
Yeah, that's great.
From backstage to them performing on stage, as a whole experience. Even it could even be from them at their homes getting ready, coming out. It could be like a 3-hour live online experience. And when we talk about some of the devices, like some of the quality of the real small cameras that people are attaching, like the GoPros, and there's many other sorts other than that brand that are out there. The qualities are getting better, they're getting smaller, and we're going to start to see more reality.
Just reality footage.
Reality footage, yeah. That's not contrived. That's not that. This is what actually really happens.
I wonder if it's going to get to a point where you can imagine, like, some band that are notorious for partying, whether you're actually going to see, like, groupies giving blowjobs and these guys racking up lines and snorting coke off hookers' tits and shit like that. And that'll be fucking hilarious, man. It'll get to that one day. Someone's going to do it. Someone's going to do it, man. I'm telling you.
Someone's going to take you that.
Because they want it. They're going to want it with first,
But if it's the footage, you'll go to jail for it. If it's been seen to be done on camera, isn't it illegal or not?
Don't know. I mean,
well,
how are they going to? All right. Let's just say, for example, how are they going to prove it? They could argue that the white powder on their tits was baking soda, or it was something else. Do you know what I mean? Like, they're going to have to.
That's a good point.
They're going to have to, like. Look, I'm not a fucking lawyer, man. I don't know, but I would. My logic would tell me that if you're going to bust someone for doing something illegal, they're going to need some hardcore evidence.
Yeah.
So having something on video may be a form of evidence, but they could argue, well, that wasn't cocaine. It was coke. We're just saying it because we're artists. Yeah. We're entertainers. We're performers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So who knows? Anyway, it'll be interesting to see if it does happen. But someone's going to do it.
Yeah.
Someone's going to fucking do it.
On that note, we'll
call it a day.
We'll call it a day. We'll get some lunch.
Yes, do that.
And
thanks again, Nick and Brian. We're still here. We're still rocking it. And so t-shirts in the mail. And we'll try and get a guest on real soon, and if not your mate, we'll get something happening.
Yeah, we'll lock in it. We'll get a few on the go, ready for the next one.
And we won't wait as long next time around. So sorry about this delay.
Yep.
All right, buddy. All right. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
Thanks.